Welcome back to the program. This bulletin is sponsored by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. In our first story, holding company Enterprise Group Limited has revealed plans to venture into the health insurance sector. This was made known at its annual general meeting for the year 2017.
The company has been in operation since 2008 with 5 operating subsidiaries: Enterprise Insurance, Enterprise Life, Enterprise Trustees, Enterprise Properties and Transitions. With expertise in several fields in the insurance industry, the company has revealed plans to begin health insurance anytime soon. Kelly Gajepo is the group CEO.
First off, the structure we have internally is a complete project management structure, which is a separate team of people who wake up in the morning and all they're doing is pursuing these plans and agendas, so that we're not mixing them up with the regular operations. So we expect our operations to continue to go, and these guys are focused with some supervision obviously from the top. In the case of health, we're partnering with a very experienced health insurance provider from outside Ghana, and I'm not going to name the name yet. And the intention obviously is to pick up the learnings and also to be able to enter the market with the full force of the thoroughbred.
He also explains the company's plan to extend its services to other parts of Africa.
We've gone far. We've now raised the money. The only thing left for us is to get our timing right in terms of market entry. So we'll do that. In the case of Nigeria and the other expansions, little is known about our Gambian operations, but we've been experimenting in international waters for a few years now. I think our Gambia operations are at least 5 years old. So those learnings are being replicated in our entry into Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire. Again, we've already gone far. I must confess we have not concluded a transaction, but when we do, you hear of it.
The Enterprise Group Limited has revealed its intention to join the about 14 private licensed health insurance providers in the country. It's set to consolidate its position with experience it has gathered from other insurance markets, such as the life insurance market and the general insurance market. This was made known at the company's annual general meeting held here in Accra. For Joy Business, Philip Nanfuri.
The Bank of Ghana is making moves to enhance its supervisory role to cover the savings and loans industry more efficiently. Now, this will involve carving the banking and supervision department of the bank to meet international best practices. This was disclosed by Special Advisor to the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Grace Okofi. Ebenezer Sabute has more in this report.
The Banking Supervision Department of the Bank of Ghana has been criticized by some industry players for lack of proper monitoring on savings and loans companies and other financial institutions. According to the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies, it is ready to collaborate with the central bank to flash out unlicensed operators in the system, and the Supervision Department shows more commitment to exert its authority over the sector. Speaking on behalf of the Governor as keynote speaker, Special Advisor to the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Grace Okofi, noted that the regulator is making all efforts to position the department to make the financial sector sound.
Mitigating the risk of corporate failures in the financial sector therefore calls for collective efforts to instill corporate governance principles in every financial institution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, given the important role specialized deposits institutions play in financial intermediation, the Bank of Ghana has committed itself to carving its supervisory functions consistent with international best practices and in line with the Basel core principles for effective supervision to enhance the legal and regulatory framework. In addition, the Bank of Ghana issued corporate governance directives for banks and specialized deposits institutions, and regulated under the Banks and Specialized Deposit Taking Institutions Act 2016, Act 930 in March 2018.
Executive Secretary for the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies believes that there will be confidence if the collaboration between operators and the regulator in the financial system is maintained.
And so the association over the period has engaged the regulator that there are certain things that they can use the association to champion, of which some of the departments in Bank of Ghana have started using the association to get the needed results. And so we believe that a closer collaboration between the Bank of Ghana and the association will help strengthen the sector. A typical example is the rural banks. Their association, and also through the ARB Apex Bank, the regulator is able to have less burden in regulating them. And so we believe that this collaboration that we have started with the regulator should be strengthened. We should continuously be kept in the loop. When there is any policy direction or any policy document, they should continue to engage us. Currently, we have seen that improvement that, like the corporate governance directive, we were involved in getting the final policy, and currently the cyber and information security policy, that one too, we were given a copy to study and make our input. We want to continue to encourage such collaborations so that any policy that affects the financial system, the savings and loans companies, and for that matter the association, should be involved. And as long as we are involved, you get the best out of it.
The association manages more than 45% of the total non-bank financial institutions' assets in the country.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies is appealing to the Bank of Ghana not to increase the minimum capital requirement by more than 100%. The Bank of Ghana has indicated its readiness to increase the capital for all financial operators in the country as a measure to strengthen the country's financial base. Now, in an interview with Joy Business's Executive Secretary of GASALC, Trinibua Kodja, disclosed that though members of the association are prepared to meet the new capital requirement, it does not expect anything more than 100%.
As we speak now, there has not been any particular figure that we said that we're going to increase to. Members of the association are all in agreement that there is the need for some level of capital restructuring. So members are also currently preparing themselves gradually to meet whatever amount that comes up. But we should also be mindful that whatever figure that is given for savings and loans companies to pay should be something that has a scientific base. The reasons should be apt. There should be every reason behind whatever figure.
Do you have any projection?
Oh, we cannot project out of the blue. But members are not expecting anything more than 100% of the current level, which means that if there is even any increment, members are not expecting that it should go beyond 30 million.
Why?
We wish that it doesn't go to 30 million, but it should not go beyond it, if even there is a radical need for us to increase it. The reason is simple, that getting capital is very expensive, very difficult. The systems are also not prepared for more capital because there are some banks who also had good capital, but they still had problems. There is a savings and loans company who has more than 20 million capital, but its profit last year, 2017, was less than 1 million. There is another savings and loans company whose capital is 15 million, but its profit last year was 10 million.
Head of Africa Regional Markets at UBA, Abiola Bewa, says the bank will by 2020 list on the Ghana Stock Exchange. According to her, the public trust invested in the bank has resulted in a decision to share dividends with the investing Ghanaian public. She shared her thoughts with Joy Business at the launch of the bank's mobile money application.
The regional chief executive of 6 African countries, including Ghana, Abiola Bewa, speaking to Joy Business at the sidelines of the bank's launch of a mobile money application, said it is time for the bank to share its profitability with Ghanaians by listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
We believe that the cake is worth sharing. So we definitely have that, not because of the minimum capital, but we believe that Ghanaians have patronized us, the Ghanaians have brought us this far. Our customers are loyal. There are people who have been with us right from inception. And it will be good to give everybody, just like these 2 products that we are rolling out to majority of Ghanaians, we will certainly come on the stock exchange to share that cake.
On the minimum capital requirement, Abiola Bewa expressed the bank's confidence in meeting the minimum capital requirement even before the December 2018 deadline. So far, some local banks have made a case for the BOG to extend the deadline for meeting the 400 million cedi requirement. But at the sidelines of the mobile app launched by UBA, Abiola Bewa says the bank's current financials pave way to meeting the requirements.
We all have up to the end of December.
Sure.
The most important thing is to be en route to meeting it. And like I said, when you see our financials at the end of maybe June, let's say by July, it should be out. So when that is out, you will see that we already met it.
The mobile banking application, which includes advanced biometric features, is expected to change the face of banking in Ghana.
Well, it's been a month now since the commencement of the much anticipated mobile money interoperability platform. The system gives the estimated 24 million mobile money account holders in the country an opportunity to evaluate their options under a new system. Now, users can transfer money through their mobile phones across different networks. But even as the system has received appraisal, the situation seems different on the ground. Charles Aite has more.
Have you heard of anything called mobile interoperability before?
Yes.
Have you tried using the system before?
No, I've not tried.
The response from friends resonates with views from some other members of the public who tell me they have just not found the prudence to transfer money through this new system.
No. I've not tried using it because almost all the people that I deal with are on the same network with me.
So you haven't even tried testing the system at all?
Not at all.
What about your friends?
Well, I don't know any of my friends who currently is on the system.
I read about it on Facebook. Yeah, and that was it.
Have you tried using the system before?
No, I've not tried my hands on it. Yeah.
Why haven't you tried using the system? It's been like almost a month now since it came to force.
I would say since I read about it, I've not had any transaction that requires that system.
It gets more interesting with this lady who had no idea what the mobile money interoperability is all about.
Oh, I don't have any idea about that.
So you have never even seen it on your phone as part of your mobile money listing?
No.
But do you know with this you could transfer money from your account, your Tigo, whichever network you use, into a different network?
This is my first time of hearing that.
We'll be ending with these 2 gentlemen here to find out from them whether or not they've used the system before and whether or not it works for them. And I'll be starting with the gentleman on my right. First of all, have you used this system called the mobile money interoperability? Have you used it before?
No.
You haven't even heard the name before?
I have heard the name, but I haven't used it before.
Why haven't you used it before?
I guess probably because I just haven't got enough information, about how it works and all that.
What about you? If you could come closer to me, have you used this system before, the mobile money interoperability? Have you used it before?
No, I've also not used the system before, but I'm privy to the certain information about it.
we are making it, or if we are to go by this method, it means that we are leaving them unemployed. You get it? So that is the negative side, while the positive side that well, because it's of ease. I mean, you don't have to walk all the way to a vendor before you can send money or draw money.
But here's a case where you haven't even used the system before.
Yeah, because I think it's a good idea, but I haven't used it.
What about you? You have heard from him. Yeah. It's a nice idea, but he hasn't really tested the system. Do you think that the whole public interest in this system is not picking up?
Okay, I think just as he said earlier on, it's a good system. Okay, you're talking about the comfort and the ease at which you would have to be transferring money from one person to the other. But also we have to look at the what is going to cost us as a nation. Okay,
and these have been the concerns so far. Others are also saying that they're just not using the system because they are just thinking about the kind of jobs that are going to be lost by the various mobile money operators. We shall be following this story closely, especially when we get to interact with Gibbs on this issue and the best way forward regarding the success of the system.
Turning to agric now, and scientists are warning cassava brown streak disease could hit West Africa 10 years from now unless steps are taken to avert an outbreak. Dr. Richard Start of Cambridge University in the UK says efforts must be geared towards avoiding massive destruction in Eastern and Central Africa. Love FM's Kwesi Debra spoke with him during a high-level meeting in Cotonou, Benin.
Cassava is the third largest source of carbohydrate for humans. It's a staple for nearly 800 million worldwide, mostly Africans. Cassava products such as gari, tapioca, flour, starch, chips, etc. are consumed and traded in the sub-region. A survey in 2016 showed Africa produces 57% of the world's cassava from the lowest average yield of 10 tons per hectare. However, Africa has high-yielding varieties with potential to produce 40 tons per hectare. It's estimated by 2050, due to population growth and increasing urbanization, this yield is expected to exceed 25 tons per hectare. Despite cassava's strength, production is impeded by diseases. Apart from minor diseases such as fungi and bacterial infections, viral diseases remain the most damaging. Africa cassava mosaic and cassava brown streak play a very important role. Cassava mosaic disease can lead to 40 to 70% yield loss. Annually, it costs Sub-Sahara of between $2 billion and $3 billion. The emergence of cassava brown streak disease in Central Africa is another threat. The disease, spread by the white fly, is disseminated by humans through the use of infected cassava cuttings to establish new fields. Dr. Joseph Induguru is a plant virologist and director of Mikocheni Agricultural Research Institute, Tanzania.
When you don't have the disease, you have yield. You can have cassava yielding between 20 to 40 tons per hectare. But when you have cassava brown streak, in most cases farmers get less or below 5 tons per hectare. And in terms of economics, cassava brown streak has caused losses which has been estimated between 35 to 70 million US dollars annually.
Dr. Titus Alichai is with the National Agricultural Research Organization, Uganda.
The current cassava brown streak disease epidemic in Uganda started in the year 2004. At that time, it was reported in one location in central Uganda. 10 years later on, in 2014, the disease is now present in over 90% of the country where cassava is grown.
So how in the model and in reality can CBSD be spread? Well, there are
a group of scientists from Cambridge University has designed a mathematical model which can predict the spread of the disease. Members anticipate the disease to reach corridors of West Africa by 2028. Dr. Richard Start is one of them.
The way the model actually works is we have a large host landscape of where our cassava fields are placed at different locations in the landscape, and then we simulate the dispersal of the pathogen via, in this case, it's via whitefly or possibly via trade. And the model, we learn from data how far an individual whitefly is likely to go. So, but most whitefly will stay within their sort of home, the field where they were born. But then every now and then a whitefly will go to a neighboring field, and maybe 1% of whitefly will go a kilometer away, and then maybe 1 in 10,000 whitefly will go 5 kilometers away. But there are millions of whitefly in a single field, so even a very low chance of an individual whitefly going a long distance means that there's a very large potential for long distance spread just on the basis of large numbers. Then with the cassava cuttings, the planting material that's sold, that can potentially go hundreds of kilometers in a single day if someone takes a truckload of planting material from one province to another or across a border in the case of some movements. So we seek to capture these processes. But as these are highly random processes, you can't predict where a single whitefly is going to choose to fly, or where a single infected cassava cutting will go. So the models have an element of randomness.
Recognizing the seriousness of the situation, African scientists have created the West African Virus Epidemiology Program, WAVE, for food productivity. Launched in 2015, the overall goal of the WAVE program is to sustainably increase production of root and tuber crops through effective disease control methods. Dr. Jocelyn Peter is Executive Director of WAVE.
So, if such a virus gets into Nigeria, for example, a country of 180 inhabitants and 180 million inhabitants, a country where about 80% of the population is eating cassava daily, so it will be a humanitarian crisis. But if this virus is in Nigeria, that means it's already in Benin. If it's in Benin, it's in Togo. It's in Togo, it's in Ghana. If it's in Ghana, it's in Côte d'Ivoire.
The scientists have been meeting in Cotonou, Benin, to discuss and inform African governments and traditional leaders on urgent need for a regional response plan. Dr. Alain Opon is Ghana coordinator, WAVE.
People should be aware of the existence of the disease, so that when they are aware, then they can develop strategies to control it. Also, we don't recommend that people bring foreign materials into the country, because when they do that, there's the potential that they will bring materials that carry the virus.
Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
Next, our interview of the day, and the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, says it would soon come out with findings on the 10 investment firms that are being probed over violation of some industry regulations. The Commission earlier indicated that it had commenced investigations on 10 licensed investment firms after numerous public complaints. Now, SEC says these complaints border on violations of the provisions of the Securities Industry Act 2016, that is Act 929. And here is the Director General of SEC, Reverend Daniel Ogbamitete.
We have taken a look and we have done some revisions, and we are doing further consultations with the necessary stakeholders. And we want to believe that once we are set, we'll be able to announce. I wouldn't want to put out any date, because I've already indicated some dates that we're not able to go by. But we have to consult.
Hopefully before end of this year.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Before the end of this year. It will be sooner than that.
So how far have you gone with investigations into the 10 troubled companies, the investment firms?
Well, what we did say is that investigations are continuing. When we are ready, we would issue another statement and advise the public. So until we issue the statement, I'll just say watch the space.
So how soon should we expect a statement?
Watch the space.
We apologize for the poor quality of sound there. That'll be it for our program tonight. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. You find all the day's latest stories over there. My name is Darryl. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow.